Hey, people. Boom. I'm gonna try to actually do a quick live stream today. I don't know if I can do that. That's just 30 minutes. I'm gonna try. I don't know if that's gonna work. I'm gonna try. Give it a shot. How's everybody doing? Hey, Helen, how are you doing this morning on YouTube, this afternoon? Maha, Gina, Jeannie, Forrest, Jonathan, Gown, David, Mark, Arturo, and Patricia. Oh, Arturo, you sent me something today. You sent me something today, had me all excited. What was it? What did you send me? Oh, yes, you posted that link with the links between the mainstream media and WWF wrestling. That was awesome. That was off the hook. It's crazy how much alike they are. All right. So it looks like, yeah, we're playing comment games today. I don't see the comments coming up. So I think the issue is, we'll try one more time. There is no issue. It's just Facebook. Facebook increasingly, they don't appreciate me. Brother John said I'm getting radical. I'm not getting radical. I'm radical about anything I say. Don't kill people. Don't blame children for what adults do. And it should be pretty simple. There was something I have to show you. All right, it doesn't look like we're gonna have Facebook commentary. Actually, no, hang on. I'm gonna try to see if I can trick this. We'll let that play for a minute. Actually, I want to talk about 5G, but I saw something I have to post. I am going to make an attempt to fix the comments on Facebook. I think I might be able to know a way to do this. Bear with me, people. How's everybody doing? Hopefully y'all have a good weekend. There's always some technical difficulties, or just they're playing with it. I don't know which it is, but we'll see if I can reboot this real quick. Because the 5G testimony was amazing. Y'all didn't see it. Uh-oh. I think that's it. No, that's not it. All right. I think that's it right there. So you can get Facebook in the conversation here on the screen. That would be nice. Oh, Glenn is over on YouTube. All right, now let's see if that's a Facebook comment that will work. All right, somebody comment something on Facebook. Let's see if it pops up. If not, you just got to go over to YouTube, do your commentary today. There's a way they found to circumvent my mojo and figured out my kung fu, and they're playing with it. All right, I don't see any Facebook commentary, and I know y'all are over there commenting. Y'all are pretty vocal, so I imagine that's not going to work today. So commentary is on YouTube. You're going to find me over there. It's Be the Upgrade, but it looks like this is going to be nominated by YouTube commentary. I have to look at Facebook commentary on my handheld. All right, let's make YouTube comments big. And Facebook. Sorry, guys. That's how it goes. We'll put it down there in case the Deep State wanted to show y'all's commentary later. At first, I thought it said we need a global yell. I was thinking Alien Jesus Asteroid 2020. Yeah, well, we do. We need an asteroid. I'm sorry. You have a death wish. No, I don't have a death wish. I love the universe. I like life. And I don't think we should corrupt it. We got some major issues that we need to fix. And until we get that fixed, we shouldn't be here. As long as you got people yelling about single payer healthcare and they're rolling out 5G, we got an issue. And this is the thing that I found was great. I'm gonna show you this. All right, there we go. My YouTube comments are up. This is what I want to show y'all. Oh, wow. Ain't nobody here. Barely anybody. What the hell is going on? What y'all got live or something now? All right, here we go. Good to see everybody. Hey, Ty, Rebecca. Gelm is on both platforms and Elaine. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in. Pause the music. Let's get into the. This is I'm attempt to try to do this every now and then. When something important comes up, I want to show it right away. This is important.
Audience, Dr. Goldberg, please come forward. We look forward to your testimony in opposition to the legislation. You have 5 minutes, ma'am. Please proceed.
And committee members, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I'm Sharon Goldberg. I'm an internal medicine physician. I've practiced medicine for 21 years, and my background is mostly academic, internal medicine, hospital-based, clinical research, and medical education. I am going to skip many of the things I wanted to say because I didn't realize it was only 5 minutes. Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. This is no longer a subject for debate when you look at PubMed and the peer-reviewed literature. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects. So 5G is not a conversation about whether or not these biological effects exist. They clearly do. 5G is a conversation about unsustainable healthcare expenditures. Why do I say this? We've been sitting on the evidence for EMR and chronic disease for decades. And now we are seeing all these epidemics appearing. So diabetes is the first epidemic. I think most of you know the statistics. They're very scary. 1 in 3 American children will become diabetic in their lifetime, and if they're Hispanic females, the number is 1 in 2. So what does this have to do with wireless radiation? Wireless radiation and other electromagnetic fields, such as magnetic fields and dirty electricity, have been clearly associated with elevated blood sugar and diabetes. That is what the peer-reviewed literature says. It is not opinion. The closer you live to a cell tower, the higher your blood glucose. That is based on hemoglobin A1C measurements. So the idea with small cells of putting the cells closer to people's homes and bedrooms scientifically is very dangerous. And from an economic perspective, it's dangerous. And you may not know this. I was shocked to find this out. But the way you create a model of diabetes in rats in the lab is by exposing them to 2.4 gigahertz. And this is not for long-term exposure. So I don't have time to talk about the costs, but the huge problem with diabetes really is chronic kidney disease. End-stage renal disease, the worst complication of diabetes, leads to hemodialysis. Hemodialysis is an automatic qualification for Medicare. And if you don't qualify for Medicare, we still have to dialyze the patient. And the state ends up paying in many different instances.
All right, I'm gonna pause for a minute because I see a bunch of people started coming in. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna. You have to go back and watch the beginning. But this is a doctor giving testimony on Senate Bill 637. She's explaining the dangers of 5G. She's clarifying the dangers that we've been talking about, but she's doing it in a different way in terms of the effect on the healthcare system. So what does this mean? This means that all of you who are yelling and screaming about single payer, everybody who's yelling about healthcare and universal healthcare and all of that, the top of your discussion is what's going to happen to healthcare costs with 5G. Explaining the facts are 5G will affect your body, period. It affects the human body. It causes cancer. Electromagnetic radiation, it's a done deal. They have very clear evidence. This is a doctor. She wears a pen in the past. She got the she got the white suit that everybody trusts. She's a doctor. She's explaining to you what's going to happen with healthcare when you roll out this extremely destructive experimental technology to get faster Netflix.
So renal failure is 1% of Medicare, but it takes up 7% of all Medicare expenditures. I don't have time to talk about this anymore, but once again, the other epidemics that clearly link from the science with electromagnetic radiation are related to mental health. And this is straight from PubMed. This isn't my opinion. This is science.
Dr.
Okay?
Goldberg, for those of us who aren't physicians, what is PubMed?
I'm sorry.
First of all, I'm just going to be clear on this. I don't know who bald dude is, and I stand with my bald dudes. But listen, if you don't know what PubMed is, you have no place in government anywhere on this planet. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. That's just a fact. I know what PubMed is. If you don't know what PubMed is and you think that you're interested at all in any sort of a health, nutrition, holistic, dangers of medical practice, PubMed is where all the research is. That's the one view that we have as citizens into the dangers of the crap that they put in the food, they put in the air, and they're rolling out. So the other thing I want to say real quick is Jeannie said they only gave her 5 minutes, and that's important, right? So a doctor's testifying on a technology that politicians are getting paid ridiculous sums of money. We'll find out in the future to roll out, and they only gave her 5 minutes to talk. She's the only one who should be talking in the room. They should have gave her 50 minutes. They should have gave her 5 hours. When a doctor is talking and saying, you're about to kill some citizens, you're about to cause major disease in a country that's yelling and screaming they want health care, you give her all the time you want, that she wants, and you shut up. So it's interesting. I agree with you, Jeannie. They gave her 5 minutes, but you notice they didn't stop her. They gave her 5 minutes, but what she said is so impacting, they actually didn't stop her. So I'll give Bald Dude credit on that. But this is important for you to understand. It's not crazy people screaming about 5G. It's not conspiracy theory. These things affect your body. She's explaining why. This is why single-payer healthcare does not matter. Universal healthcare does not matter because the healthcare system is already broken. And by rolling out more apocalyptic-like diseases, autoimmunity, cancer, and all the other just ridiculous, endless diseases that can stem from affecting the immune system, the brain, and the body, converting over your immune system and your white blood cells to fight cancer while you got other problems. This is the healthcare discussion, period. So I'm gonna let her talk.
It's just it's our National Library of Medicine. This is where you would go. This is just the peer-reviewed literature. So we have 3 epidemics that clearly, they're essentially one epidemic. We have deterioration of mental health in the United States. And if you look really at the science, what does it show? And these epidemics are our suicide epidemic, epidemics in violent, shootings, and the opioid epidemic. And I don't have 5 minutes is not the time to talk about this. This is in the peer-reviewed literature. I have a file to submit for the record, but these are facts. These are things that have just been glossed over by the wireless industry, and I really don't have time to talk about them in 5 minutes.
Glossed over. She doesn't have time to talk about them because there's so much. Brother Bill just said something about 5G's effect on aluminum in our bodies. We have metal all throughout our bodies. These towers, the radiation affect that. What does it do for mental illness? What does it do for kids already struggling with the fact that they're born in your evil little society that brings them up in poverty and scarcity and turns them into hate warriors? We have no idea the effects of this.
I wish I did. But we need to examine our epidemics in the context of our EMF exposures. What does that mean? That means that the CDC, tracking these epidemics, we need to start measuring how much radiation are people being exposed to. And before we roll out 5G, and this means there are 4 kinds of electromagnetic fields that we know are harmful to human health. So radio frequency radiation, magnetic fields, dirty electricity, and electric fields, okay? Our exposure, any given person, and all humans are affected by EMFs. Our given exposure has nothing to do with the research that my colleagues are going to cite with the National Toxicology Program. That is an assessment of the risk of 1 cell phone in the near field, okay? What is our exposure in a day? It's not 1 cell phone. It's cell phones, it's multiple wireless networks, it's smart meters, it's cell towers. It's this sandwich, and it all adds up. And this is a serious problem for occupational health, public safety, and personal safety. And I feel that it's irresponsible to be even talking about the Internet of Things and rolling out a new untested technology when we're not even measuring what are our current exposures from the current networks?
Doctor, appreciate your testimony. Would you
Pause for a minute. It's not irresponsible. It's downright treason. It is downright traitorous. It is democide to roll out a technology you know that kills people. Doesn't mean everybody's gonna die, but people die from cancer. This technology causes cancer. This is not something that we should be rolling forward with. And she made another good point, like the studies that they like to talk about are based on one cell phone. What about when you go to a stadium? What about when you go to a movie theater? What about when you go anywhere and there are hundreds, if not thousands of cell phones? What about just sitting in traffic, all the hundreds of cell phones around you there? Now, of course, there's a proximity issue, but 5G is decreasing the wavelength. So this is the predominant healthcare discussion. Absolute treason. And why is it important? Because those of us who are concerned with this, there are only two ways to protect ourselves from corporations. One is a politician, the other is us. And we only do it one of two ways. We can stand down or we can stand up. And what do people historically do when the politicians stop protecting them from the king? The coffers, the banks, the corporations. Usually they don't stand down, they stand up. And that's what we don't want.
again provide us with your credentials? You said at the beginning.
Yes, I'm an MD. I'm board certified in internal medicine. I've been assistant professor at different medical schools, mostly in New York, most recently the University of Miami. And I got interested in electromagnetic fields after my administrator at the University of Miami gave me a new iPhone. I used it for 20 minutes on speaker, and my finger was burning at the end of the call. So that was years ago. I started reading about the science and connecting with other scientists, and really my expertise, I've taken care of a lot of patients with chronic disease. So when I talk about diabetes and, for instance, heart failure, that, the National Toxicology Program shows clear evidence of cardiomyopathy in that study. In other words, that's a precursor to congestive heart failure. And I want to just read one thing, if you'll allow me. This is from the United...
I'm going to back up a little bit because let's clarify. So she's not a doctor. She's not a family doctor. She's not a doctor with a hobby in conspiracy theories. She's a doctor who knows what they're doing. She's a doctor who actually was a professor and teaches at universities. She's no run-of-the-mill, give you ADHD medication for your kids so they sit down, die. This is a doctor.
United States Renal Data System, healthcare expenditures for persons with chronic kidney disease. So over half of the 2015 Medicare spending for beneficiaries aged 65 and older was for those who had diagnoses of CKD, diabetes mellitus, or heart failure. All three of these conditions, when you look as an independent scientist, not someone who's funded by wireless, all of those three conditions are linked. So diabetes and heart failure are linked with EMF exposures. It's very clear.
Doctor, what are you're a trained medical professional?
Yes.
We don't have one on the panel. What are we to make with of the American Cancer Society, for example, telling us there's no evidence of harmful product?
Well,
I'm sorry. So outside of the fact that somebody actually believes the American Cancer Society anymore is insanity, the fact that he would even ask the question, an organization that actually profits and benefits and makes money on not solving cancer. Who gives a damn what you think if you take money? If your industry is making people sick, what I expect them to want 5G. Why? Because it's going to fill their coffers even more. And that's not conspiracy theory. It's the dumb thing of legislation. When you write laws and make industries out of problems, of course, the business owners are vested in there being more problems. That's just common damn sense.
at this point, there's a national and international 5G appeal. I don't know how many thousands of people have signed. But the point is that many of these organizations have conflicts of interest. And I can't speak to, I don't know who's on their board, who made these decisions. My testimony comes from, I've been reading this literature for years. And really, I got interested in it because I've spent my career taking care of so many patients who were sick in the hospital that when I found out about the links, I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. So I've read these articles myself, and the experts who don't work for telecom and who are in their independent research, everyone comes to the same conclusion. This isn't, we're not in a place where we should be debating this anymore. This is exactly what happened with tobacco. It's the exact same thing. And really, right now, the only people protecting, the only people who are able to protect Americans are our legislators.
That's
because
it.
we don't have any relevant regulatory guidelines to protect human health. The FCC guidelines were developed for short-term exposures, 6 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on it's a phone or an outdoor exposure. And they have absolutely no connection to the biological effects that have been very clearly summarized in the Bio Initiative. That's a huge document generated. All of the summaries are there. And I've got it here for you if anyone wants to read it. I have very concise summaries and abstracts documenting everything that I'm saying. So I know there are plenty of people here that are probably rolling their eyes, but in academic medicine, we have a name for what's happening now with 5G. This is called, and what has happened with wireless communication, this is called, 5G is an untested application of a technology that we know is harmful. We know it from the science. This is, in academics, this is called human subjects research. Human subjects research is very tightly regulated. You can't just roll out some type of a research project on human beings unless, A, you have their informed consent, so they understand the risks and benefits.
I have my consent.
And B, you have the approval. Like someone has actually, examined the literature and said, okay, this research project, we believe that it's safe. There's no evidence in the science to indicate that it would not be safe. We have decades of evidence to show that it is not safe.
Thank you, Dr.
Decades.
Goldberg.
Thank you.
Decades. And so a couple other things I want to say here real quickly, though. As a politician, though, after you've already taken the money from wireless, after you've already taken the money from telecoms, after you've already taken the money from whoever was offering it, you're going to do the deal. This is the problem with politics in America. I don't know about the rest of the world. I can only speak about my country, is that these politicians, they run, and the job is to do a job. It's not to provide a service to the people. It's do a job for corporations. The corporations write the checks. They take the campaign contributions. They run, and they've already decided what they're going to do. So it doesn't really matter that a doctor steps up and says, you're going to be killing people. You need their consent to experiment on them, and you need clear evidence that it's not going to harm them. One, they don't have the consent, because I don't know anybody on this planet that's saying bring 5G other than television damn commercials. And two, it's proven that this stuff can already kill people, but they're doing it anyway. That should tell you everything you got to. You know what? I put an Amber Alert out earlier today. Got an Amber Alert out. If anybody's seen United States federal government, because in 1933 they went lost, and if anybody sees them, will somebody grab that little bastard and bring him back to the States so we can have a constitutional convention? We've lost our government. We don't have a government, period. Please stop acting like we have one. Please stop voting like we have one. Please stop picking 2020s like we have one. Let it go. When you try to solve a problem with the wrong tool, you don't solve it, you make it worse.
And very briefly, if you can, what do you mean by conflict of interest?
I mean that, so I've taught, one of the things that I taught in medical school is evidence-based medicine. So teaching medical students and residents how to critically evaluate the literature, the science. And one of the first things that you teach residents is that you always have to look at the funding. So, and you can read about it. Marcia Engel, the editor of New England Journal, just wrote a great
Look at the funding. While I take a break and I share the link, because everybody's like, share the link, share the link. I always share the link, but damn it, here's a link right here. I'm going to share the link. Let me hide this. Well, I was going to say that, what I am going to say, after they take the money and they're funded by it, it's too late. So if his name is Bernie and he's already taken the money from Raytheon, You can vote for him all you want, but all you're going to do is ensure that we invade Venezuela. And I think that's kind of a bad idea. I think, all right, so here it goes. I'm posting it right here. There's the link on Facebook, YouTube. It'll appear later. I think it was already on my page, but if not, I can put, no, I'm not gonna put it on my page yet. So the link should be right there. That's the link to the video. But after your politician's taking the money, it doesn't really matter. You can say Bernie's fighting the deep state all you want. Bernie ain't fighting no damn deep state. Bernie's a part of the deep state. You can keep yelling about how Trump is going to do this and he's taking care. Trump ain't taking on anything. That's not how our country works. We can finally put the final nail in the bed of whether or not he's fighting the deep state. He's not. The deep state's not fightable. These people run the world. They don't care about your Trump. They don't care about your Bernie or your Obama. They're rolling out 5G and it will literally give you cancer, your children cancer, and kill them. And they don't care. They don't care. They've already taken the money.
Op-ed in the New York Times about researchers who are funded by private industry. The results of their research are much more likely to support whatever it is that is being funded.
The money.
That's clear.
Representative Garrett has a question.
Yes.
Good morning, doctor. Just
Good
a
morning.
really quick question. What is the normal RMF that individual could be exposed to? And if these small cells are installed, what is the prediction of how much RMF the human body would experience? And then the second question would be, if we know that RMF is a issue, do we limit the amount of exposure that somebody with cardio issues in the hospitals, whether they're going through a CAT scan, or so are we limiting that because we know that just small cells alone is not the issue? It's, as you talked about earlier, it's the sandwich. So give me the normal levels, what the prediction is that the human body would experience moving forward.
Well, I'm so glad that you're asking that question. And the answer is that, well, no one's measuring. And that is the problem. That's the problem.
They don't want to know, or they already know.
We have, and the way I think about this is in an occupational health perspective. I think about, because people go to work, and so for instance, your exposure will depend on what you do in a given day. So if one cell phone causes cancer, clear evidence of cancer, DNA damage, heart damage, well, what happens if you work at an airport? What happens if you work in a stadium where there are 100,000 people coming to watch a football game and everyone's using their phone at the same time? And so the problem is that we have a very, very systematic, clear, empiric way to measure these exposures, and it's a discipline called building biology, and we actually have someone here trained in building biology, and I asked him to bring the meters. If anyone after this meeting is interested, I can show anyone exactly how we measure, okay?
But before we go there, something else I wanted to notice, I want to point out, is we're way after 5 minutes. So we are already, what is it, over 10 minutes into this conversation? We are 13 minutes into the conversation that she had 5 minutes on. So yeah, they can't do anything about it. But is there concern? Hell yes, there's concern. They understand now they'll vote the way they're supposed to, right? Because they've already taken the money. But are they concerned? Hell yeah. Does this concern you? Hell yeah, it should. It concerns them too. But they can't do anything about it, right? To stay in office, what do they got to do? They got to take the money and to get the vote. And you vote for them and you tell them what to do. This is why you got to stop yelling about single payer. You have to stop yelling about universal health care because it's not going to matter. The job is to make money, and the corporations are the ones who are paying, not you.
But that is the problem, that we don't measure, and there are certain situations relevant to public safety where we really do need to be measuring, with firefighters, with airline pilots. Because when you activate microwave radiation inside an enclosed metal space, you get you get amplification, you have increased power density. So think about it, an airplane, everyone's with their devices, every device is emitting radiation, and the access point is right next to the cockpit usually. So what does this do to pilots? What does this do to firefighters? We already have a submission to the FCC from Susan Foster about firefighters that were unable to function in the line of duty. This is from 2013, after exposure to a cell tower that was put up near their station, and they also have two-way communication devices that they wear. So we have to measure these exposures. That is the start, and not go ahead and roll out a whole bunch of Internet of Things with more devices that we're not even measuring what we're exposed to now.
Doctor, thanks for your testimony.
Thank you.
All right, I wanted to show that. I got to do more of that, just real quick, impromptu, when something comes up. It's important. I'm going to look at comments and I'm going to get out of here. So 5G is a danger. It's a big danger. Elaine mentioned children in schools, and she didn't even mention that one. Like, that's huge. Like, think about your kids now sitting in the classroom. Not only that, Elaine, but think about kids on a school bus, riding to school bus in a metal cage with 30 other kids, all with these cell phone signals bouncing around inside of that Faraday metal box of a cage. Like, this is big. This is everything. And no, Brother Gown, I'm not... I absolutely don't use shampoos. No question about that. Money should disappear, Christine. I absolutely agree. The almighty dollar, Sandy, that's what it comes down to. That's what I'm saying. The human race, and well, that's not the human race. The planet has survived asteroids, super volcanoes. It survived comet hits. It survived pole shifts. It survived tsunamis. It's not going to survive money. Money is going to destroy this entire civilization. They don't gaff. 5G is necessary to roll out AI and replace human beings. Exactly, Yvonne, and I think that's the same thing. How do you get self-driving cars? How do you get self-driving police cars? How do you get self-driving drone police? How do you get all these things? You need a massive 5G network to network all the robots together to do what it needs to. So this isn't conspiracy theory. This is just king's power. Kings always do this for the power. They never carried Elaine. They don't. All they care about is the money. The job is take the money. We say don't take the money, but the job is take the money. And they take the money. Only so many legislators are in the pocket of those same organizations who cause cancer. Lynette, I think, are only so many. You know what the thing is? The right ones are. Right. So, right. There are only so many that are in the certain pockets of war. There are only so many that are in the pockets of Wi-Fi and 5G. There are only so many that are in the pockets of these different organizations and industries. But the point is that there's always just enough, right? They count the votes. This is how it all works. They count how many they need. The rest they don't give a damn about because they don't need them. So it doesn't really matter if the majority on that panel, and I'm not even sure who the panel was, were against it. It doesn't matter. Wi-Fi, telecommunications, the lobbies already make sure that they bought the right one. So it doesn't really matter what the ones who are concerned do. All that matters, they already got the right ones. Scientists warn of potential health effects. Thank you, Yuli, for posting that link. Let me see what else. I'm going to try to make this a short one. I just want to see if there's any other comments. Oh, yeah, Christine. Christine said he doesn't know what a conflict of interest is. No, he doesn't. You know, he probably knows. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Like, that's not the job. The job is to look like you care and do the opposite. That's why with that, Turo posted that good link with the links between the mainstream media and World Wrestling, right? And it was interesting because what they basically said is it doesn't really matter if you hate or like the wrestler. You just have to hate or like them. And people tune in. Doesn't really matter if you hate or like a president. Doesn't matter. Long as you hate or like them, they got that emotional hook and you're tuning in. And that keeps people active because they hate and like these people. And that's what keeps them all in power. They play you by your emotions. All right, I shared the link. All right, what else I got? The dirty deals. It's all the money. Yes, it is. All the money. Money has to go away. Sandy, absolutely agree. We need psychosocial, spiritual medicine. Jeannie, we damn sure don't need the pharmaceutical medicine. We need to walk away. That's why I tell people, drink your smoothies, get healthy, plant some seeds, get away from this system. The system is murderously bloody. We don't have a federal government. Bernie sold out for sure. He did, Lynette. He's gone. I don't know why people are still posting Bernie links. It amazes me how gone we are. Don't take the money. I don't think they have a choice but to take the money, Lynette. I mean, they can walk away, but the fearful thing that politicians need to think about is if you actually don't protect your citizens, they will protect themselves. And by the time that ball gets rolling, you will never stop it. It's the legislators' job. It's what they're supposed to do. I don't blame them. It's on us. We did this, but they're the only ones who can pull it back short of something significant happening. I'm a stand downer. I believe we can walk away from the system, but I don't think most people will do that. I think most people will revert back to things that get out of control. 30 years old are biologically 60, if not soon, if not now, soon. Well, right, Elaine, I think what you're talking about is like how you meet someone, they're 30 years old, but they act like they're 50. You meet someone who's 50, they look like they're 80. But then again, I'm still meeting people who are 80 who look like they're 20. So some people get it, but a lot of people don't. But that's what the effects of being poisoned. We are being poisoned. They are literally taking you and putting poison in your cup. They're taking your child's sippy cup and they're putting poison in it because they get paid to do that. It's called democide, poisoning your people. You can't hear Courtney. You might need to reboot. I think everybody can hear me. You might need to refresh your screen. CancerSociety.org. Oh, for fudge's sake. Exactly, Jeannie. It amazes me. They're big liars, yes, Elaine, because they're paid to lie, and we buy the lies and we believe the lies, right? And we say, why do people lie? People lie because there are consequences for telling the truth. And they're not going to tell the truth because there are consequences. That's why they're not studying it. That's why they're not monitoring it or measuring it. They probably already know. They're experimenting on all of us. Yes, Susan, and the general public, they're completely experimenting on us because we got 2020s who want to experiment on us, and people are still posting about that. We should stand down. Yes, we should, Rebecca. My only problem is I don't think most people will stand down. I think most people need the medicines. Most people need the drugs. Most people need the infrastructure. Most people need the food. They need the medicine. They need the grocery stores. They need all of that crap. Most people aren't going to stop shopping. And so the reality is that either we waking up people up by sharing the video. Thank you for sharing the video. Certainly appreciate it. Or share the link. Share whatever you like. Or we let it go the way it always goes. Hungry people, they don't stand around. Sick people, they don't just stand around and die peacefully. You know, it's like kids. Like I was posting on kids this morning. It's like, you know, we do this to the kids. There's no kid. I never blame a kid for anything. Kids, they become products of their environment. You know, we have a legal system and a justice system. We've got two political parties that like to blame kids for reacting to the society that they gave them. They gave them a murderously bloody, hateful, artificial, scarce society, and they're reacting. Can't blame the kids for that. Same thing with Venezuelans. You can't blame them for that. We're starving them. The CIA's been down there choking them. Sorry, CIA's been down there stirring up a revolution a long time. I don't blame the poor people in the street yelling and screaming. I blame the adults in America around the world who don't seem to get that we've always been doing this and that thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people might die from it. Damn it, this might be the one that starts World War III because Putin already came out in support of Venezuela and told America don't touch Venezuela. So did China, right? So Britain came out on supporting the other side of America and the murderously bloody intent of starting a revolution in a sovereign nation. This might be the last one. This might be the one that does us up because we still believe in it. Thank you for, yes, exactly. Organite helps, but it has to be grounded. Yeah, that was that little piece of information we looked at, I think, 2 weeks ago. Let me see. We live in a toxicity beyond imagining. Exactly, Rebecca, and I don't think anybody would have any idea. I mean, if you just look at probably what's in the water, what's in the air, what's in the damn handlebars for the bicycle, what's in the seat, what's in the clothes, we're being poisoned. And yes, Yvonne, it is all criminal. It is all criminal. It's unethical. It's immoral. It's insanity. It is insanity that anybody anywhere near you is posting about who they're voting for in 2020. It is insane. Insane in the membrane, a prophet once said. All right, let me see. Are we done or can I get out of here? Thank you. I see the links. Appreciate y'all sharing. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, brother Travis. Let me see. They never care. Nope, they don't. Let me go down, go down, go down, go down. How do we stop it? Seriously, how do we get enough people to care and do something? Well, Chris, good question. I think there are a lot of things we can do. I think you have to keep talking about it. I mean, it's not going to be anybody online. It's not going to be anybody like me. It's not going to be anybody in mainstream media. It's not going to be anybody in Hollywood. It's not going to be the politicians. It's you. It's your influence on other people. It's you looking at this stuff and not necessarily agreeing with me, but doing your own research, going and rewatching the link, make your notes if you got to, go online, go to PubMed, arm yourself is where you get your arrows and you sharpen your swords. That's what they are. Research, information, data, and facts. So you can go out on your own and start telling people truthful things like this, right? Because I'm not going to be there. She's not going to be there, but everybody has to step up on their own. And that's how we make a change. But, initially is people have to get united, Chris. That's the other thing. That's why I'm on here all the time talking about people stop fighting. Stop fighting. Stop believing the hype. Stop believing the hype. The hype is designed to make you emotional. And when you get emotional, you get hyper. Like a toddler on sugar. You get hyper, you get stupid. You start yelling and screaming how much you hate Trump or how much you love Trump. And that seems to be one of the biggest dumb topics they got everybody lost in. And by the way, fun fact, did y'all know that Donald Trump is in the WWF Hall of Fame? I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, he was a wrestler. Well, I don't think he was a wrestler, but somehow he got in the Hall of Fame. They had him on TV and whatever. But the point is, it's all about picking people who they know you'll hate or you'll love. And once they got you, they got you. Once you bite that hook, you're in. Like, you ever seen a shark hook? Once you bit that hook, you're on, and they got you. Don't believe the hype. All right. Hype makes you hyper, then you fill your diaper. Let's not do that. Thanks for taking time. Yes, 5G is about machines communications with each other. Yes, Gina, that's the only thing I can think of coming out of the IT industry is that you're using it to hive machines. I posted a link with the grocery store in Japan. Y'all can look that up, where they required 5G to get all the robots to act as a hive to actually fill your grocery bags. This is what they want. They can't have people. And once they get this stuff really all rolled out and they have robots or whatever they need, they don't need people. You can protest all you want. You've given up your ability to dissent and say no to this. Also, pregnant women, huge damage to the fetus. Oh my God, Elaine, I didn't even think about that. Think about pregnant women. Think about all the metal in her body and their body reacting with this. Think about the pregnant women who live close to the towers. If firefighters, big, strong, healthy men that carry damn ladders and people out of buildings, mental fortitude. I mean, they train them dudes like they do boot camp in the Army. If these guys can't even perform their job because right outside the firefighting station, they got a 5G tower, you should take the hint. Take the hint. These are the big issues. The big issues will never be on TV. If you want to know what's important in the world, never look at your television. Never look at your news. Why? Because the cronies behind all of this, they're the ones who actually make the news. Of course, nothing important in the news will ever hit. Why? Because they're crony. They want to make their money. They're not going to tell you about Venezuela. They're going to keep saying Trump, 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 Trump. Democrat, Democrat, Republican, Republican. And they're going to keep going that way because it makes you emotional. It makes you hyper, fills your diaper. I'm emotionally rejecting all those jerks. As you should, Yvonne, because they're not our jerks. They're jerks. They all belong to Wall Street. They all belong to big corporations. Every last one of them, Democrat, Republican Party. I lost my last one today. I liked Rand Paul. I did a little bit. I didn't catch anything bad from him. Somebody tagged me in a link where he gave, it was like a couple $100 million in tax break to big corporations or something like that. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? Where the hell did this come from? And I don't know, maybe it was back in a time where I didn't like him so much, but he's become more and more like his father in recent times. But the reality is you never know. You can't trust any of them. You can't attach your integrity to a politician. Because if they're in Washington, you should already be skeptical of everything anyway, because the only way to get there is by taking the money. Hey, Gerard, so concerned about the health risk. Yeah, Jason, brother Jason, we should be. We should be, because you know why? Sick people need the system. Sick people need corporations and politicians. They need their drugs. They're weak. They need help, right? And this is what this is usually always about. It's about making dependence out of people. If you can make people dependent on a system and dependent on a government, the government's won. You make people dependent on corporations, they've already won. You have to be strong. You have to be independent. You got to live healthy, eat healthy, build up your strength and body, and definitely your mental fortitude. Share your knowledge and learn some skills to live. Yes, Brother Glenn, share your knowledge. Get the knowledge and share the knowledge. That's what we do. You know, like I said, I started to make that point, which is why every day I'm on here talking, almost every day, about division. You got to stop being hyper, stop dividing up against poor people and fighting other poor people. They didn't do this. None. White people didn't do this to you, all right? Black people and darkies, they didn't do this to you. Immigrants didn't do this to you. In 1933, your country was sold away to the Federal Reserve and private bankers and an unfederal reserve, because it's not even federal. And we don't even know who actually runs that. And your country's indebted to them. So all the politicians, every political party's bought by them. So you can stop crying and screaming and fighting over politicians. None of them matter. The only thing that matters is you stop dividing up against other people who are going to get cancer from 5G. That's the only thing that really matters. And until we do that, until we reach out across our neighbors and start building communities again and working together, we all going to die. And I think that's a bad idea. I never had a cell phone. What the F? And all of this is not going to be tempting me to ever get one. Deborah, see, we all going to die. You know what's going to happen? This is what happens. We're all going to die. The only thing's going to be left is going to be Deborah, the cockroaches, and Deborah. That's it. Everybody else is going to be gone. She's going to survive. I wish I weren't so addicted to my cell phone, Deborah, but I am. But when I go to sleep, I put it 3 feet from my head. When my kids go to sleep, unfortunately, my two youngest, they'll go to sleep and they'll be close to their face, and all of that radiation is going through. It's causing all kind of problems with their brain. So I take the cell phone and I'll put it over on the dresser. I go in and I check them, but they'll go to sleep with it. The problem is these devices are too addictive. We never had these devices as kids. We had damn Game Boy and head-to-head football. You ain't going to sleep with that. You get tired of that little dot on the screen. These things are highly addictive. That's what you do, is you got to start to protect your kids. You got to protect yourself. When you go to sleep at night, put your cell phone in airplane mode. Move it away from you. Put your wife's cell phone, move it away from her. See your husband, move it away from her. And people have to start realizing how dangerous these things are. Don't put your cell phones in your pockets. Get a case to carry it. Put it in your purse. Put it on the shelf. Put it somewhere, but don't carry this thing around. These things are dangerous. And if you actually read the manual, every cell phone manual will tell you you can't have your cell phone within a 1/4 inch of your skin, because proximity to that antenna is everything. It's all about a profit over health concerns. Exactly, Brother Jason, because all of these industries feed together, right? You get sicker, the medicine companies are going to make more money. You get cancer, the people making cancer surgery and procedures, the people selling the equipment, they're going to make more money. People get upset, they get violent, they riot, they start a group called, I don't know, skinheads, a KKK, a white nationalists, a Antifa, or Black Lives Matter. And guess what? The prison industry's making money. The police are getting jobs. They're making money hand over foot. You're selling locks to the prisons. And it's just like all of this stuff, it just constantly feeds itself. You know, but it's because we live in this crony world. Like, the real question that I like to ask myself all the time is, how come the billionaires who we like don't do anything about any of this? How come they don't speak up on any of it? Except for the crazy one, Elon Musk, and he's trying to get the hell off the planet. It's because they can't. One billionaire can put together a sustainable corporation that actually feeds the world. One billionaire has more than enough to actually make an organization that could feed the world sustainably, passively, off grid, and none of them do it. None of them. And it's not because I don't think Oprah's a bad girl. It's not because I think Trump or any of the billionaires are bad guys. I think the world works on conflict. That's what makes the world go round, is money. And money's only made in conflict, like day trading. People have to kill each other in order to make money. And they got to be angry with each other. They got to fight with each other. They got to have the emotions like WWF. And how do you do that? You starve them. That's why we're not feeding the world. It's not because the world is starving. It's because we are actually starving them. We have models around the world that money's made based on starvation, emotional and angry and sick people. All right, let me get down to the bottom. I'm gonna get out of here. Airports have 5G. Yes, they absolutely do. Sick and poor people depend on the system. The shutdown was just training towards unrest, just like the Yellow Vest movement. Hollywood already reprogrammed the reactions. Yeah, and they know our reactions, Gabrielle. You know, the thing I think about, though, is France is a different animal. I'm not in France, so I can't say anything about the Yellow Vest there. I know here, if you show up in a yellow vest, you better take everybody. That's all I know. In America, if you show up with a yellow vest, better take everybody. You better make sure when you open your door and you walk out to your yellow vest protest, you put your vest on. You better see your neighbor over there doing it, your neighbor over there doing it, the people down the street as you're driving to the protest. You better see them coming out their house and do it. Everybody better show up. If not, they're just gonna kill everybody. That's the job. That's the job. Unfortunately, if half the population is still gaslit enough to believe there's a difference between Republicans and Democrats, if half the population is gaslit enough to think there's any real significant difference between Obama, Trump, Bush, and Clinton, don't go to no yellow vest protest. I'm gonna be in my house. That's why the FBI, Homeland Security, they're not worried about me. Like, oh no, we know he ain't going. We know he didn't figure it out. He didn't figure it out. He ain't going no damn protest unless it's everybody. You know, when y'all start acting like adults, you start acting like human beings and sentient, stop being selective about who you give the damn the most, it won't work. Short of that, it's exactly what the sister just said. You're going to show up in the street, and that's what they want. If you don't think Homeland Security wants a revolution, then you're crazy. That's exactly what they're paid to do. That's why they have the NDAA and the Patriot Act and all of this crap. You need to get out of the large cities. Yeah, large cities are a bad place to be, Ellen. I am not a city person. I am a country boy, and I avoid the city with a passion. All the cell phones need to be on the desk in the living room when you go to sleep. You don't need it when you're sleeping. Yes, that's right, Sister Deborah. The other thing on that is that you probably want to put your Wi-Fi on a timer. They got the timers now used for my grow lights. I haven't done it yet. I need to do that. I'm changing my life as we speak. I'll probably put my Wi-Fi device on a timer so the Wi-Fi shuts off at nighttime and comes back on. Otherwise, at nighttime, you're not helping. You've got a little 5G, 4G Wi-Fi tower in your house, and it's a stupid thing. Thoth, Plato, Solon, ancient civilizations all said evolution's higher conscience only happens through nature. A society destroying nature is destroying themselves. Right, Susan? And that's why it's good to always look back at ancient philosophy and look back at the ancients, is that we've always been killing ourselves. We always kill ourselves. We're not acting sentient. We are literally killing ourselves, and we're voting to kill ourselves faster and help big business make more money. That's why I think we need a model shift. We need to change the model for the world. But we have to think like a world first. And I'm not talking about New World Order globalism that Trump loves and Obama loves. I don't know if they love it, but they do it. Not New World Order crap, but sentient stuff. That everybody's a sovereign. You have a right to do what you need to do, and I'm gonna support that. You know, you have a right to water. You have a right to some land. You got a right to food. And that's the only way I think we move forward and change the model of the world from a model based in conflict and fighting each other to a model based in looking out for each other. Because the whole world's rolling out 5G. All the big governments are doing to control their populations also. Always use your headphones. Yep, Alan. I don't even talk on my phone anymore. I don't put it to my ear anymore. I've always got the headpiece. Now, once you go look and do a quick look online and look at cell phone, like type in like cell phone radiation human brain, and then type in the one for cell phone radiation child's brain, and you'll see the picture where a portion of your head is irradiated by the cell phone like a few minutes after talking on your phone. It'll scare the hell out of you. How will it affect animals in nature? Well, Gina, so far I've only heard of an entomologist talk about how it already affects insects. And I think another one was talking about how it does affect birds, that birds avoid the 4G towers, let alone 5G. That when they rolled 4G out, the birds who used to nest on the poles, they don't nest on the poles anymore. They completely avoid. They say insects avoid the areas. Bees stay as far as they can away from the 4G towers. let alone 5G, right? Because I think they use it for, is it navigation? And their bodies are electromagnetic just like ours. So pretty much every, what I appreciate is the doctors who've come forward and they've used restraint, right? They'll say it affects the brain, I think the liver, the heart, and a few other sweat glands, stuff like that. They're being very, very conservative when it comes to what they say. But the reality is every function in your body uses electromagnetic radiation, and every function in your body is related to all the other functions in your body. So anything that monkeys with that is a bad idea, and that's what this does. Exactly. Nobody will give up on it now, but there are precautions we can take. Yeah, brother Jason, we can take precautions. Plant bamboo, people. Plant matter, trees, the thickness of hedges, those things actually affect it. You know, you don't have to plant it all around your property or your house, but damn sure plant it around your bedrooms, because they're not going to stop rolling out the 5G towers. They've already been paid to do it. So they're actually not. The last thing I checked on, Trump was trying to help them speed it up. He was trying to help them get past local regulation. It's not a Trump thing. I hate even saying the name, because if Obama were there, he'd be doing the same thing. If Bernie was there, he'd be doing the same damn thing. If Clinton was there, she'd be doing the same damn thing. It's just how money works. U.S. dollar is faltering a bit. This could push the psychopaths pretty far. The dollar is collapsing, Galen. I don't know what it means. I just know that it looks like they're getting more desperate, and Americans are going to be hungry. That's why I tell people, save seeds, plant food. I was out propagating plants today. I was in my green rooms reorganizing things, getting my trees. I need to look up how to propagate mulberry. I got a couple big mulberry trees at my house, and I'm gonna learn how to propagate them and get them growing. Grow some food, plant some trees. Not only will they block 5G, but they give you something to eat when all of this mess falls apart. Every civilization falls, and I don't think there's anything to be scared of either. Like, it's not a scary thing to say that our civilization's collapsing. They always do, and all of our grandparents told us what to do. They all had pantries. They all had food. They all were prepared. They knew how to take care of themselves. They didn't need infrastructure and a government. We just became one of the weakest generations in the history of the human race. And so it's not anything to be scared of. Resets always happen, and this reset's happening. Either we get to choose what it gets reset to, or the people resetting it does. I think it's a bad idea to let the people who designed the system to collapse to reset and reorganize us based on the fact that they just collapsed the last one. The Corbett Report has a great series on World War I and how the New World Order began. Then highly recommend it. I recommend everything Corbett, Lynette, everything Corbett. We just watched Corbett's report on the year's top fake news. You should watch it. He was giving out the fake news awards, all the lying politicians, the fake death, the fake climate change reports, all the fake things that they're faking. Very important to know what they're lying about. And why do they lie? They lie because it makes you hyper. It's the hype, right? You'll believe the hype. And if the hype gets you upset, and it doesn't mean that the hype isn't based in truth. It just means that it will get you hyper. And that's how they keep you engaged. They give you these extremities for hate and love. They make you emotional, and that's how they reduce the intellectual capacity of an intellectual. Spot on about yellow vest protests in the U.S. Yeah, Lynette, that's not going to be the place to be unless everybody's coming. When I get an email from 240 million people that say, yeah, time to get in the streets, that's when I'm going to get in the streets. Short of that, nope. When I see the police putting on the yellow vest and I see DHS putting them, when people actually wake the hell up to the fact that we live in a police state, we don't have government, we have wardens. Once they wake up to that fact, then I know we can step out and we can do what we need to do. But until then, we're not changing anything. Although I will say that I like the initiative for the Constitutional Convention. And I think where that is, they need 7 more states to actually launch a Constitutional Convention where the states can reboot the federal government. That might be something to look at. But even with that, I have my concerns because a lot of people don't believe in the Constitution anymore. They don't believe in the Bill of Rights. And that's a scary, scary thought too. France is good, not co-opted yet, but yellow vests got shot. Yeah, Christine, because they know what to do. They're going to scare people back into their houses. The thing that I like is I like that they're taking money out of the banks. The yellow vesters, I believe I saw someone posted a link that they're taking money out of the banks. It's time to hunker down. It is time to hunker down, Ellen. It's time to read. It's time to wise up. It's time to spend time with whoever you're conflicting with, those other poor people on the other side. All right, let me see. I'm going down the last couple comments. I tried to do it. How long have I been here? I was trying to do a quick 30-minute. Election is a distraction. Please don't participate. Thank you, Ellen. The election is a distraction. The election is the hype. The election is the hype. The election is the hype. Let me know when it sinks in. The election is to get you hypers, to get you excited, to get you to fall in love with a candidate or hate a candidate. Ignore the elections. The elections are fake news. All of the elections are fake news. They bought everybody already. They have all the seats they need to. Not even an event, a process, a degradation, the fall of an empire. Yep, Gallon, it is. It's just the fall of an empire. We got too big. We always do. Russia got too big. It's funny what Afghanistan does to people, to empires. It's funny what Afghanistan does. They seem to always be involved when one empire gets broke. It broke Russia, well, no, the USSR, so they became Russia. It's breaking America. We can go into being 50 states. We can become 50 countries again. We can be free again. We can do all kind of things again, you know, but there's no question that the empire is collapsing. Chris Hedges talks about it all the time. Very important to listen to Chris Hedges. My mother likes fast and processed. I'm trying to wean her from that. Please do, Maha. You don't want to eat any fast food. You don't want anything processed. Almost all processed food is genetically modified. It's full of sugar. It's just going to cause cancer like 5G. It's 5G, processed foods, GMOs, pesticides, herbicides, the poison in the food, aspartame. All of that stuff works together. Probably works with geoengineering. All of that stuff works together. These people are always 40 years ahead in technology than what we know. They already know the effects of all of this. That's why they don't study it. 5G causes internal burning and skin. I believe that, Ellen. That makes perfectly good sense. It's like a microwave to a degree, especially in the right spots. Raise the cortisol with fear. Bring on the EMF and poisoning. Nice recipe for death. Yes, Elaine, they know how to control us. I got to get used to calling you Elaine. I'm so used to calling you Buddha. Look up the company org Seed Savers. Yes, I love seed saving companies. Very important. Not only save your seeds, but share your seeds. The plants actually will save you. Sounds crazy. But the plants, every generation, they modify their genetics for the new environment. Save your seeds, plant another one. There are plants that are figuring out what to do with this aluminum in the environment. There are plants that are figuring out what to do with all of this BT and all the pesticides and crap. There are plants that are figuring out how to fight off sick and dead, dying, retarded GMO plants that are Frankenstein. There are plants that are figuring out how to survive in the environment. That's why you want to save your seeds and replant them, because every generation gets better and better. It gets stronger and stronger in the environment. You know, buy your first seeds from seed companies, but then keep saving your seeds. Let me see. All right, I think we're done. What was it? Get you hype, crap in your diaper. That's what they do, Gal. They get people hyper. That's what I was thinking about. Is that don't believe the hype. I was listening to some old hip hop today. Don't believe the hype. The hype is how they get you. They get you hyper. You get excited. You think that Trump is killing the world. You think he's saving the world. You think Bernie's going to save us. You think Bernie's going to kill us. They get people hyper. And when people are hyper, they can't stop, pause, and just think. Does the CIA always topple third world countries? Yes, they do. They are the one. They are the proponent. They always want to get people hyper. One of the next ones they're going to get you hyper is about the aliens. It's coming. It's coming. They got all those. Because remember, the SR-71, we thought that was a UFO. The stealth fighters, we thought that was a UFO. What are the odds that these triangle ships people are seeing aren't just our technology? You know, that'll be the next one. The good thing to keep in mind about the hype on aliens is aliens have never attacked us. Just think about that. Think about that. There's no question there's intelligent life out there, but they've never attacked. What are the odds they're going to attack in your lifetime? Asteroids hit all the time. Comets hit all the time. They're coming, they're landing. Super volcanoes go off all the time. The aliens don't attack. So don't be hype about aliens attacking you. When your government comes on television, they say it's an alien attack. It's not an alien attack. It's them. They're the only ones who attack nations and murder their own people. It's your own government because we don't have a government. They were bought a long time ago. Maybe worth dying for. Well, you know what, Sandy? I think it was Martin Luther King that said something to the effect of that If you find a man, or I guess woman, who has nothing to die for, they might as well go ahead and die. Like, if you don't have anything that you would die for, then why the heck are you even alive? Why are you here? And unfortunately, they've convinced people, it seems like collecting money and putting it in a bank account is actually why we're here. And that's not why you're here. That's hype. It's fake news. You're here for a higher purpose. None of us, I don't understand, but you damn sure ain't here to collect a bunch of crap and put it in a bank account or a garage. That's just dumb. The most significant thing you have is your soul. It's the only thing you have before and after and while here. It's the only thing they can't take. So don't sell it. Don't sell it. Democrats and Republicans trying to buy it. Don't sell it. The bourgeoisie in France, they're trying to buy it. Don't sell it. Don't sell your soul out. Keep your soul, people. Sell everything else. Not your children. Don't sell your children. Children are good. I like children. Don't sell your children. Don't sell your wife. Don't sell your husband. Don't sell your soul. All the other crap, sell it. Get rid of it. I believe in minimalism. Faraday cage blocks 5G. That's what they say, Ellen. That's what I think I saw something about that when they were explaining how orgonite can help if it's grounded. Makes sense. They're probably our technology because of the places they are seen. Well, you know what, Travis, they are. Oh, you know what a good show to watch, Travis? I was watching, what's the new show about, with, what is his name? Heimlich. The doctor that they got to go around the United States with the military and say every UFO is swamp gas. That doctor, Alan Hynek. There's a show, I forgot the name of it, but that's a good one to watch, where it shows how they hired him, how they trained him, why he became who he was later, and said, not only did we research UFOs, and yeah, some of them were top secret technology by government, but a lot of them weren't. And that's how they developed a lot of these UFOs that they're going to use later for, what did she just posted it? What's the name of the project? Sister just posted it. Gabrielle, thank you. The Blue Beam Project, right? That's going to be the fake stage alien invasion. You'll see blue lights coming from Space Force, and you'll think that it's an alien invasion. It's not an alien invasion. It's your government. They're giving you hype to make you hyper, to soil your diaper, so you'll turn on your neighbor. That's how it all works. That's how they make money. Yes was a good false flag comic. Reportage, thanks. Reposting or reportage. I'm not sure what reportage is. Mind blowing. All right, Christine, I'm gonna get out of here. I want to get out of here. Let me see. Last couple comments. You can Faraday cage your home. Yes, you can Faraday cage your home. You can also surround your sleeping quarters with lots of vegetation, lots of hedges, lots of bamboo. But you can also get healthy. You can also eat organic. You can also drink clean water. You can also harvest water. You can also start cooking from whole ingredients. You can also go back to eating more raw. You can also go back to walking away from the system. You can also go back to not buying slave technology, slave-made minerals and consumerism. You can also go back to finding a good hobby that isn't based in destroying Venezuela, like giving up shopping and go hiking. Take up making. You can go back to knitting. You can do natural things. You can do things that don't require us invade nations and cause revolution. Like I posted earlier today. So my son blew me away earlier today. He blew me away, or yesterday. He showed me his cell phone case. He got a cell phone case that actually charges his cell phone. He's like, Dad, I haven't charged my cell phone in the socket in 2 months. I'm like, what? Like, how you figure that out? I was like, how you figure out my son is hitting me like leveling me up? I've been charging my cell phone in the socket. I'm using fossil fuels and nuclear energy to charge my cell phone, and my son for 2 months is charging his phone on the sun. Everybody can teach you. Everybody can level you up. I didn't even know that they had that. You can buy a cell phone case. You just take it and stick it out in the sun. Charges your phone. Why are we invading Venezuela? Because Gerard's dumb butt charges his cell phone and his laptop in the socket. He needs to go get a laptop case that has solar panels on it and a damn cell case that'll charge it. Right? We're going to Venezuela for the oil and other things, but the oil is one of them. There are some other things going on, but that's certainly one of them. Yes, and please don't use tinfoil. Yeah, well, tinfoil and aluminum, well, I certainly know aluminum you're not supposed to use anymore. I got to get out of here. All right, yes, Hiking and knitting, love it. Christine, anything natural. And you'll find you'll love it, people. You will find you love it. That fake phony feeling you get walking in the mall buying crap, it sucks compared to breathing fresh air and being in nature. I know there's bugs out there. I know because people like this. There's bugs out there. Oh my God, there's bugs out there. I know. This is what you do. Get you some essential oils. Get you some peppermint oil. You can make your own perfume. You can make your own cologne. You know, get that stuff on your skin, and guess what? The bugs will leave you alone. Bugs hate essential oil. You'll smell like a plant to them. Not only that, essential oil actually kills them. Make your own bug spray. Go for a hike. Do natural things. Go back to being human. It's a good thing to be human. Being human is a good thing. Being these little greedy bastards that live in wooden cages surrounded by toxins is a really bad idea. All right, let me get my last couple comments. I'm going to get out of here. I really just wanted to show a doctor explaining to, I'm not even sure where this was. Where was this? A doctor explaining to your politicians while 5G is a horrible, horrible thing to do. Dr. Sharon Goldberg, when she testified on 5G, I don't know where she testified at, but she kind of explained it in the way of healthcare. You know, all you people who are yelling and screaming about healthcare, you need to watch this, right? You know, share it to your page. If you're single payer, hashtag single payer, hashtag universal healthcare. Like what it's going to do to healthcare costs is going to be ridiculous. So I loved her perspective. All right. Say what? Solar cell phone charger. Yeah, I forgot the name of it already. You find it on the website. Do not go to Amazon and buy it. Don't go to Amazon and buy it. That's the wrong way. That's the enemy. Drops in a bucket. Make the ocean. Exactly, Travis. That's my point. It's like, you know, the ocean is made up of drops of water. Everybody just focus on your drop. Do your drop. Don't worry about anybody else. Focus on your drop. Explain to other people that you are a drop. And we can make an ocean. Get out of the stores. Yes, Sandy. Buy local. Fix what you can. Make what you can. If your neighbor makes something, buy that from them. I got a neighbor went back to, I'm not sure. I think he got his ducks and chickens back. And so if he's selling eggs, I'm going back to buying eggs from him. Buy from your neighbor. Support your neighbor. They buy jewelry. Buy from them. They make shoes. Buy from them. If you can make shoes, go back to making some shoes. Anything we can do, every little drop makes up the ocean. Every little drop we take from corporations, they feel they need growth. They die alone on growth. It's not about breaking everybody away from them. They're already breaking. Every year I look at the big businesses closing up and I laugh. Every year I look at how many stores are closing. I know because people cry when they look at it. I laugh. I look at that report. I'm like, yes, Lord & Taylor's closing 1,000 stores. Yes, this shoe store, Nike's closing this. Yes. You know, I just start looking at them. They're all closing up. And I'm like, this is a good idea. Starbucks is closing stores. That's a great idea. Why? Because people can make their own damn coffee. It means a mom and pop coffee shop can open up, and I'd rather go there anyway. All right, that's done. I wanted to show that. All right, listen, I'm going to get off of here. But it's important. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing the video. That's the important thing, that we get the message out by Dr. Sharon Goldberg, because you are not going to see her testimony anywhere in the mainstream media. You're not going to see it anywhere in the mainstream news, simply because the politicians in the mainstream news are paid to not show this. They're paid to keep you far from this content. And I'm going to let it actually, because it was a long video. And I meant to just make it a few minutes. Unfortunately, things with me don't work that way. I say that. I'm going to let her close out on the last couple words here. Beginning of her testimony.
Look forward to your testimony.
Appreciate y'all joining. Y'all have a wonderful weekend.
You have 5 minutes, ma'am. Please proceed.
And committee members, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
You have the stage.
I'm Sharon Goldberg. I'm an internal medicine physician. I've practiced medicine for 21 years, and my background is mostly academic, internal medicine, hospital-based, clinical research, and medical education. I am going to skip many of the things I wanted to say because I didn't realize it was only 5 minutes. Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. This is no longer a subject for debate when you look at PubMed and the peer-reviewed literature. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects, So 5G is not a conversation about whether or not these biological effects exist. They clearly do. 5G is a conversation about unsustainable healthcare expenditures. Why do I say this? We've been sitting on the evidence for EMR and chronic disease for decades. And now we are seeing all these epidemics appearing. So diabetes is the first epidemic. I think most of you know the statistics. They're very scary. 1 in 3 American children will become diabetic in their lifetime, and if they're Hispanic females, the number is 1 in 2. So what does this have to do with wireless radiation? Wireless radiation and other electromagnetic fields, such as magnetic fields and dirty electricity, have been clearly associated with elevated blood sugar and diabetes. That is what the peer-reviewed literature says. It is not opinion. The closer you live to a cell tower, the higher your blood glucose. That is based on hemoglobin A1C measurements. So the idea with small cells of putting the cells closer to people's homes and bedrooms scientifically is very dangerous. And from an economic perspective, it's dangerous. And you may not know this. I was shocked to find this out. But the way you create a model of diabetes in rats in the lab is by exposing them to 2.4 gigahertz. And this is not for long-term exposure. So I don't have time to talk about the costs, but the huge problem with diabetes really is chronic kidney disease. End-stage renal disease, the worst complication of diabetes, leads to hemodialysis. Hemodialysis is an automatic qualification for Medicare. And if you don't qualify for Medicare, we still have to dialyze the patient. And the state ends up paying in many different instances. So renal failure is 1% of Medicare, but it takes up 7% of all Medicare expenditures. I don't have time to talk about this anymore, but once again, so the other epidemics that clearly link from the science with electromagnetic radiation are related to mental health. And this is straight from PubMed. This isn't my opinion, this is science. Okay?
For those of us who aren't physicians, what is PubMed?
I'm sorry. It's just it's our National Library of Medicine. This is where you would go. This is just the peer-reviewed literature. So we have 3 epidemics that clearly, they're essentially one epidemic. We have deterioration of mental health in the United States. And if you look really at the science, what does it show? And these epidemics are our suicide epidemic, epidemics in violent, shootings, and the opioid epidemic. And I don't have 5 minutes is not the time to talk about this. This is in the peer-reviewed literature. I have a file to submit for the record, but these are facts. These are things that have just been glossed over by the wireless industry, and I really don't have time to talk about them in 5 minutes. I wish I did. But we need to examine our epidemics in the context of our EMF exposures. What does that mean? That means that the CDC, tracking these epidemics, we need to start measuring how much radiation are people being exposed to, and before we roll out 5G. And this means there are 4 kinds of electromagnetic fields that we know are harmful to human health. So radio frequency radiation, magnetic fields, dirty electricity, and electric fields, okay? Our exposure, any given person, and all humans are affected by EMFs. Our given exposure has nothing to do with the research that my colleagues are going to cite with the National Toxicology Program. That is an assessment of the risk of 1 cell phone in the near field, okay? What is our exposure in a day? It's not 1 cell phone. It's cell phones, it's multiple wireless networks, it's smart meters, it's cell towers. It's this sandwich, and it all adds up. And this is a serious problem for occupational health, public safety, and personal safety. And I feel that it's irresponsible to be even talking about the Internet of Things and rolling out a new untested technology when we're not even measuring what are our current exposures from the current networks.
Doctor, appreciate your testimony. Would you again provide us with your credentials You said at the beginning.
Yes, I'm an MD. I'm board certified in internal medicine. I've been assistant professor at different medical schools, mostly in New York, most recently the University of Miami. And I got interested in electromagnetic fields after my administrator at the University of Miami gave me a new iPhone. I used it for 20 minutes on speaker, and my finger was burning at the end of the call. So that was years ago. I started reading about the science and connecting with other scientists, and really my expertise, I've taken care of a lot of patients with chronic disease. So